Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome on actually this sunny day here in Somerset to our podcast, Strong, Grounded, Unstoppable. I'm really thrilled today to have a woman I've known for some years. We've never actually met. And finally, we have her on a podcast recording to talk about her life and also the novels that she writes, quite a number there. So I'm really interested to hear why she became a novelist. And I know there's something specific that comes into her thrillers. So, Diana, welcome.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
Oh, no, it's my absolute pleasure. Diana, your surname, just remind, is Karenza Robinson.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the right way
My
to say it?
author name is Diana Karenza Robinson.
Yes. Okay. Okay. And where do you live, Diana? Where do people find you?
We're next door to you in Dorset.
Ah, fantastic. Okay. Oh, that's great. But I know you weren't British born and bred. So where did it all start there for you?
It all started for me in Rhodesia on a farm
Mm.
back when. It's now Zimbabwe, of course, as everybody knows.
Yes.
And yes, I think I had probably what everybody would consider an absolutely idyllic lifestyle
Mm.
as a child until it all changed when I was 6. My mother
Gosh,
died.
that's early. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my mother died of cancer of the liver, and in those days there was no
Mm.
cure.
Oh.
She died in 1962, so it's quite a long
Mm.
time ago now.
Do
Um,
you have siblings?
yes,
Yeah.
um, so yes, I have an older sister and a younger brother, so I'm
Mm.
the
Mm.
middle for
Mm.
little. So then, at the same time that my mother was in hospital, my father was admitted to hospital after a polo accident that left him crippled.
Oh, Diana. Oh my word.
Yeah. So that was amazing time of our lives. I mean, I don't say amazing in a
Mm.
glorious way, but amazing
Extraordinary.
to have to endure that as a tiny little child.
Yeah, and in that kind of existence in Southern Rhodesia, was it a big farming or ranch or, did you
Big,
have big
yeah,
farms? So you had all the farm hands and
yes.
grooms for the polo ponies and
Well, we did. We had my dad had 4 polo ponies. He
Mm.
wasn't, he loved the game, and he wasn't enormously wealthy, having started farming not that long beforehand. He grew
Mm.
tobacco and maize, and
Mm.
yeah, we did have a very idyllic life, lots of
Mm.
space, lovely weather,
Mm. And
um,
riding on your ponies.
and riding on. Well, we used to ride on his polo ponies. They were
Okay.
beautifully schooled.
Fantastic.
We
Yeah.
never started on ponies,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
but I was fortunate. My sister didn't like riding, but my brother was way too young to ride then, but
Mm.
I started riding when I just loved horses from dot.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Dad always, when he was walking, put me on horses when I could sit, and then lead them
Yes.
around.
It is those early days that are so fantastic
Yeah,
because you don't have the fear of them. And if you have a parent who loves the horses, and as I said earlier, I love the smell of my ponies and horses and just putting your arms around their neck when you need comfort and burying your nose in that gorgeous, strong smell of the
yeah,
of the neck. So what happened then once your father was crippled? Was he in a wheelchair?
yeah. He
Okay.
was paralyzed from the waist downward.
Bless
And
him.
interestingly enough, it wasn't only the impact of the accident that he had on the polo field. In those days, growing tobacco, farmers used to virtually swim in DDT poisoning for herbicides and things.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
crikey.
and they say the medical professions in those days said that it was very possible that that DDT poisoning had got into his spine and damaged it further.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
after the fall, he didn't go straight into hospital. He was still walking, you know.
Oh.
It was only 5 or 6 months later, shortly after my mother was admitted to hospital, that
Mm.
he was running from the tobacco barns, in fact, and we were cheering him on because he was running through the rain, and he
Oh. Oh. And that just
got up
nudged
again.
that injury into something. Oh,
Yeah, so he
that's
never got
awful.
up again. And
Yeah.
we still
Did
had
that?
old phones mounted on the wall that
Oh,
were.
yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
my sister phoned up my grandparents who farmed next door, and they came
Yeah.
over and rescued
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Oh, bless your hearts, all of you. So that was two major and traumatic life changes at a very young age.
Yeah.
How did that impact the woman that, you've grown into? Did you go to school? Were you homeschooled? Did you have people coming in to help her? Lucky you had your grandparents next door.
Yeah.
Were they kind grandparents?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not
Love
always.
them.
Oh,
Yeah.
fabulous. Okay,
Yeah.
phew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
fortunate. That
yeah. Mm,
soothed the pain. And the trauma.
mm, mm,
But it's funny, stupid little things that one thinks about as one gets older and thinks back on those days. And I've read quite a lot about it. The evening that my grandmother came in to tell us that my mother had died,
mm.
well, of course, you can't comprehend it at the age of
No,
6.
no.
But the one thing that did happen that evening was we were given huge amounts of chocolate pudding.
Yes. Oh,
Sure, that's kind of a trigger to comfort eating, isn't it?
yes, yes, yes. Do you still eat chocolate pudding, or did it put you off it for life with the amount?
No, no, I'm not a great chocolate fan, but I've often laughed and thought back on that strange.
Yes. And it's also for the ones who are doing the caring. It's what can I do? What would be appropriate, and they choose something that they believe will, be
Well,
of comfort. Yes, it's a
oh,
cup of tea, isn't
absolutely,
it, sometimes for grown-ups, or a whiskey and dry ginger.
exactly.
So
But
your life then obviously changed dramatically.
yeah, I was doing a year. My brother and I lived with my grandparents.
Yeah.
Couldn't live alone at home, obviously. And my sister was at boarding school. We went to boarding school because we were 70 miles from any school anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah, she had a very difficult time having to be told by the matron of the school that her mother had died while at
Mhm.
boarding school. Yeah. So we grew up tough. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. And getting on with it. Because who helped your father? I presume he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. We had two absolutely delightful people to help in the house, and they
Yeah.
really just sort of
Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah.
yeah. And anyway, so we lived, and went back to the farm. He'd been in hospital for about 8 months and came out just shortly before Christmas.
Mm,
And yeah, then the following year I went to boarding school as well. And
mm.
I began to have issues the first year of my school life because I didn't know that I was actually going deaf, but I did know the
Gosh.
pain of both ears was just excruciating. And
Oh, gosh.
um, yeah, and slowly but surely I went deaf. And how it was discovered was a teacher, well, my teacher, during the exams, or tests really in those days,
Mm,
time
mm.
at the end of the term, um, I arranged with a friend to push my desk as close to hers as possible and copy what she was writing.
Oh, bless you. Okay. And nobody had discovered that you had
Not
gone.
at that point, because I could still hear a bit,
Yeah.
but The teacher came behind me. She'd obviously noticed what was happening, and she came behind me, and of course, I never heard her move behind me.
Mm, mm,
Tapped me on the shoulder, and of course, as a 7-year-old, you absolutely freeze. Fear takes over. But she took
mm.
me to the headmaster's office, and I couldn't believe I wasn't in trouble. She actually said to the headmaster, "I actually think this child is deaf."
Good for her. Yeah.
And she discovered it really. And then my father was called, and he came in from the farm the following day, booked an appointment with an ear, nose, and throat
Mm,
specialist
mm,
in Salisbury, which was the capital
mm.
city then. And I only had 18% hearing then.
Did they do cochlear ear implants? Because that's what they do now, isn't it, to save the
No,
hearing?
well, I'm not
Something like that.
absolutely sure what they called it, because I was in hospital for 7 months after
Oh,
that. Yeah, I
gosh, your
had
family, your poor father as well, with, oh,
15 operations on one ear and 17 on the other over a period of time, obviously. And I
yeah.
do remember having to learn to walk again at the end of that, because your
Mhm.
balance is affected by your.
Yes. And did that give you back your hearing?
Yeah, it did.
Oh,
Until
extraordinary.
about 8 years ago, I knew I'd
Yeah.
have hearing aids, but I
Yes.
was expecting that. All the
Yeah.
scars and
Yes.
everything.
Yes. And also, as the time and the years pass,
Yeah,
the hearing, I've got to have, I'm not desperate, but I am down to have hearing aids.
yeah,
So, and it will help, it'll
yeah.
help a lot. So you grew up in that beautiful place. What was it like, and where were you when it then, throughout all the difficulties, became Zimbabwe?
Right. I was actually in the army, in in ciphers, which is a I had top secret clearance, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my 3.5 years in the army. Um,
Yes.
and because I was in that position, I was always obviously very worried about my father living in a wheelchair alone on a farm, uh,
Mm, mm.
and in quite a hot,
Yes.
operation area.
Politically hot. Mm.
Yeah. But the amazing thing was he still to this day, I think of him as an absolute inspiration, because he never ever
Mm.
lost vision or optimism, and in that
Oh, love it. Mm,
yeah,
mm,
he was just
mm.
an amazing father. He was
Oh,
difficult to live with at times.
yeah.
90% of the time, he was an inspiration
He
to
must
us.
have been so proud of you, what you were doing in the army.
Yeah, he was, because he was in the Navy here during the Second World War. Well, the very
Okay.
last part of it.
Yeah.
But so I got quite a lot of inside information, which I got permission to pass on to him via sort of
Mhm.
speaking in code that we had established
Mm, mm.
if there was going to be any trouble in the area with
Yes,
terror,
so that you could
uh,
warn him to
I could
exit.
yeah,
Oh, thank goodness for that.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, he didn't never left the farm,
Oh,
but how we had security fencing, and we had radio alert systems and things like that in place. So,
mm, mm.
but still, I mean, a security fence isn't difficult to cut. So,
No.
but interestingly, at the end of the war, I happened to be at home visiting him, and an ex-terrorist commander visited, and I couldn't believe it. I got a bit nervous to begin with, as he was. But anyway, he was very much a gentleman, and he spoke to us and introduced himself. And my dad invited him in for some tea, and
Mm.
let's chat. And
Good.
my dad actually said to him, "So how on earth did I get through this war in a wheelchair on my own as a soft target without being killed?"
Mm.
And although we had gone through a homestead attack, we learned later, or the following morning, that the attack on our homestead wasn't actually done by terrorists. It was done by local vigilantes, and
Oh,
they'd had a real good drink up the night before. Well, that
oh, oh,
and we're
goodness.
testing their skills. Anyway, so we asked this um, terrorist commander why he'd left my dad alive, or why the terrorists had left him alone, although they had hamstrung some of his cattle and they'd
Mm,
damaged a lot of irrigation pipes and bits,
mm.
like a warning.
Yes, yes.
He said, "What you don't understand, Mr. Turberville Smith was my surname, um, is that your staff love you and they respect you. And here you are sitting in a wheelchair. We could not
Yeah,
hurt
no, no.
you. And that
Uh,
is because of your staff." And it was quite amazing.
yes,
I went back to the farm 30 years later, and there was still progeny of our original staff living there.
yes, yes.
In their true sort of traditional native way, they always bow and hold their
Oh,
hands.
yeah.
And what they'd done was they'd obviously taken over the farm, but there were quite a few of them farming little bits of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they told us very proudly that they had called the farm, they changed the name and called the farm after my father. And
Oh,
they used to call him Machingara, which is the Shona word for the one who stays or the one who sits.
oh.
Amazing, wasn't it?
Isn't it heartwarming? And this
Absolutely.
is where, what goes around comes around, and being kind and respectful to whomsoever, especially if they are serving you and
Yeah.
caring for you. I love stories like that. I'm blessed to have, I don't know, a 16-page letter that a Dr. Smith wrote to my father when Daddy was 18. His father died at the age of 62, and he was a justice of the peace and a colliery owner. And in those days, the coal mines were pretty tough places, and I
Ooh,
think that it was quite brutal. But my grandfather had the reputation of being the fairest, the kindest, most gentlemanly man to his workers, and he
yeah.
was loved. It was
Mm.
such a shame that he died, but I love hearing that, and I think knowing you have that in your genes, in your psyche, in your makeup, because your father's goodness would have, and you saw him dealing or working with or speaking to the people who helped you
Yeah.
in a very kind and respectful way.
Yeah.
When we lived in Oman, Bee's 31 now, she was born there in Muscat. I was shocked at the way some of what my doctor called the council house colonials, called, treated their staff.
I know.
They were
I know.
abysmal in the way that, and it's just so unnecessary.
Exactly.
And anyway, let's get on. I am so fascinated by this. So you hold dear Mother Nature and the preservation of the planet because you have grandchildren and you care very much that they can experience some of the thrills. I'm just about to write all about wonderment. I
Okay.
started off for my email reflections newsletter about, can you remember what it felt as a child to experience something new? It was always so exciting or
Yeah.
colourful or vibrant. And it's that wonderment. And if we can sometimes just allow ourselves to
Go back.
get off hearing the news and just go back into wonderment, it must be good for our mental health. So
It is.
yeah, I also note that you've traveled. Tell us some of your travels and how this has helped you with your novel writing, because that's what we want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I have traveled across Africa,
Mhm.
pretty much, and I love the continent. It's
Mm.
inspiring, it's volatile, it's dangerous, but it's so
Mm.
romantic at the same time.
Yes.
And there's nothing about Africa that you could say would mollycoddle you like you are so protected in England, you
Yes,
know.
yes, yes, yes.
So that kind of growing up tough makes you resilient anyway, but it also makes you a very lateral thinker and you appreciate all sorts of different
Mm,
cultures
mm.
as well. Africans are very vibrant and colorful creatures.
Yes, they are.
They love
Yeah.
color, absolutely love color.
Yes, I spent a month in South Africa when my sibling lived out there a long time ago, and I will always remember how wide open and far-reaching the skies were when
Yeah,
traveling from Joburg down to Cape Town
yeah.
and doing that garden route
Oh, it's
to Knysna
beautiful.
Forest. It
Yeah,
is stunning, and the scale of it. We
yeah.
can't imagine that here in this country.
No, no.
Yeah.
So
So
I have,
what? Yes, go on,
yeah,
please.
I haven't traveled to the Americas, but I've been to Australia
Mm,
and I've traveled Europe. You
mm,
know,
mm.
I've done,
And so when you set out to travel, did you travel as a young woman backpacking, or did you travel with your husband through Europe? What took you to Australia, where my younger daughter is now? How did that manifest itself? Was it for research for your books?
no, no, it wasn't. Across Europe, I did on a bus
Hmm.
tour with my sister, which was 3 months. It was really fantastic.
How
Um,
old were you at the time?
19.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah.
And then Australia, I went to my brother's wedding, and he
Oh,
lives in Brisbane. Australia, I didn't travel a lot in, but because I wasn't there that long, but I certainly saw Canberra, Sydney, the Blue
mm,
Mountains
mm,
was
mm,
lovely.
mm, mm,
Um, Europe we did, and then Africa's been generally with my husband, who's a
mm.
ex sugarcane farmer, and we've been expatting in countries. But I had travelled before him too.
Yes. Is your husband British or South
No,
African?
no, no, British, British.
British.
But both of us
Where are
born.
his sugarcane farms? In South Africa or
No, no. He managed sugarcane farms in Mozambique, Nigeria,
right?
and he's in Kenya at the moment, and I'm
Oh
going to
God.
be joining him in March, end of March.
Oh, fabulous.
And so where else? Malawi. My son farmed in Zambia, so I went there with him.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes. Gosh, all this traveling. I think I'm going to tonight go and watch Out of Africa. I haven't seen it for decades. It's such an amazing, another strong woman. So your travels must have all that experience and knowledge and culture. Did that all sink in? Did you want to then write about it? What started you off and when with your novel writing? And tell us what sort of novels they are.
okay, my debut novel
Hmm.
was based on a true story of a woman who I actually employed. So
Hmm.
just backing up a little bit, horses have always been my tutors and my saviors and all the rest of it growing up. And I've always been with horses. And I had a tack
Yeah,
shop and a manufacturing unit within the tack shop, and we used to make dog and horse equipment as well as buy
love
in.
it. They
And
smell lovely too, don't they? Tack shops. I can just,
yeah, leather,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I was looking for a new lady to manage the shop because I was also on a farm quite far from the shop,
Mm,
and we had a guest farm and did horse safaris.
mm.
So anyway, this lady came in for an interview, and we instantly it clicked. It was just
Yeah,
amazing. Um,
great.
and So she said, I know absolutely nothing about horses, but I know a lot about sewing. And I said, well, that's perfect. You can run the factory, you know.
Mm, mm,
In time, you can just learn to sell the tack.
mm, mm.
I'll be there to help you along.
Yeah.
no problem until I went down to the health shop in town to get something, and
Mm,
I was convinced I was allergic to oranges, which I actually was.
mm,
But so I went for this test, and the lady there, she had become quite a friend, and she said to me, "Di, have you employed somebody for the shop?" And I said, "Yep, I have. Her name's Nin," and she sort of went grey. I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Do you know she's a criminal?" And I said, "No, surely not." So anyway,
okay.
I left it. I didn't say anything to Nin.
Mm,
And I
mm.
thought, well, she's on a month's probation. I'll see what
Oh,
she says at the end of it. The day before her probation was up, she said to me, "Di, I have something to tell you." So I
yeah.
thought, oh, okay. Kind of knew what was coming.
Mm, mm,
She said, I've been married to a narcissist alcoholic for many years, and
yeah.
I've had the most trying time of my life.
Mm,
Um, and although we are no longer married, we still live under the same roof because we share
right.
children and grandchildren.
Right.
But when I had my interior decorating business here in this town, same town, um, he bankrupted me after being almost, really up there with
Mm,
with all of the big shots in
mm,
interior design.
mm.
And the only way I could get out of it was to consult my son-in-law about trafficking uncut diamonds.
Wow.
So he said, "Okay, well, that's not a problem. I've got all the Nigerian contacts. We'll set it up for you,"
So
which
that because she needed the money
to
to
bail it out.
rebuild.
Yep.
Yep.
But up until that point, she'd had a very difficult life of the abuse.
Mm, mm,
And so anyway, in her innocence and naivety, she went in with it, and she didn't
mm.
realize she was being lied to. It wasn't uncut diamonds. It was drugs, hard drugs.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
And at 52 years old, she was caught in Japan and spent 4.5 years in a Japanese jail.
oh my God. Oh my God.
So,
So she told you all of this, and what a woman,
oh,
you
she
know.
was amazing. We're still really close friends.
Good.
But I just was totally blown away by
Mm,
it.
mm,
And anyway, so one day, in sitting together having lunch, she said to me, well, I actually said to her, what an incredible story. Somebody should write a story about your life.
mm, mm, mm.
Well, you're a writer. Why don't you do it? And I was only writing for equestrian magazines and the
Yeah,
local newspapers
yeah,
about
yeah.
or whatever. So anyway, I take up a challenge quite easily.
Mm, mm, mm,
Okay, I'll do that. And I started and got all her journals from jail, and
mm. Oh, goodness, this is amazing.
so
And how lovely that the two of you really connected, that you didn't make any quick judgments, that you just heard her out, realized what a terrible time she'd had. She was just trying to survive. And now she must have been so thrilled with the book. How long did it take you to write that first book?
3.5 years being a,
Mm,
a novice writer, I
hmm
you bang your head and learn the
mm,
the
hmm
hard way
Yes, yeah.
in this
And
publishing industry.
she must have told you, because she could trust you, so she told you things. And I guess, so is it now generally well known that that book is based on her story?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I
And
must get it.
it's so close to the truth. It's called Don't Blame Me, and
Yes, I've
it's on
seen it on your
Amazon.
website. Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
brill.
It's an incredible story.
Mm,
And then, unfortunately, what happened is that it was being well distributed in South Africa, being a South African-based story. Um, and the gentleman who owned the company that was a book distributor he said to me, that is just the most incredible story and would make the most amazing 5-part series. I have a
Mm.
friend who is a scriptwriter. Would you be interested in me contacting you or putting
Mm.
you in contact with him?
Exciting.
Oh, yeah. I said, lovely. I'd love that. That would be super. Anyway, it turns out that he took 300 authors, several publishers, and all my money for the script writing. And, he,
Oh,
and he's now somewhere in London.
oh, oh, please. And all of that number, that 300, he was very crafty and also
Yeah, that's it.
daring, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
horrible. Anyway,
Oh,
karma plays a role in our lives, doesn't it?
yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. And if it hasn't yet, it will. Oh,
For sure.
so then what made you thought, okay, clearly I can do this. Had you got the sort of the book writing bug after the first novel?
100%, 100%. I absolutely loved English and English literature at school. I
Yes.
did my A levels in both, and I didn't get a distinction in English, but I did in English literature.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I always loved it, and I thought, well, now is the time I've published this book. Now's the time to create a trilogy, and it
Yeah.
starts in Rhodesia on a farm during the war.
Yeah.
And so my trilogy's just been released by my publisher in
Hmm.
London. And the first book is called Winds of Change. And it's really an amazing story. Well, all 3 books are amazing.
Out of your head or drawn from
Well,
other
drawn
people?
from all my experience.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and, I've had some amazing reviews and
Yeah. Oh,
people who say, gee, I actually lived that story. I didn't always enjoy it
yeah.
because it was quite
Mm,
harsh
mm,
sometimes, but
mm.
I lived it.
But that's for the vast majority of us normal life. There's the yin and the yang, the joy and the pain, and
Yeah,
and that's what I try to help people with is to not just cope with it, but thrive.
yeah,
And they need resilience and optimism, which is mental toughness to thrive. And that's what my Mastering Mental Toughness course is all about, because we are all a mixture of mental toughness and mental sensitivity.
yeah,
And if we're self-aware, we find out in which areas we excel and which we need to sort of work on. I feel that it gives us a lot more scope of living a life to the full.
yeah.
Because I don't think resilience is just an overall one size fits all. I know from the podcast yesterday, which I'll put up tomorrow, it's amazing
Uh-huh.
that this chap lives with severe chronic pain and doesn't take any and then the reasons are on the podcast. It's only half an hour. Please do watch it. And so, but I have pain. I pop a couple of pills. And so, just to help me sort of get on, emotionally, dealing and rising up from abuse and, oh, all of that sort of thing, I'm not staying down there on the floor from
No,
anyone's abuse. Thank you very much.
no,
So
no.
I realize that we are, there's different elements, different domains of resilience. And yeah, that's going to be another newsletter. So, Diana, where do you how many books have you written so far?
5, I'm on
Mm.
number 6. So the fourth one that I have produced is a non-fiction book about
Okay.
dealing with horses from a kindness perspective and
Yeah.
truly, truly understanding their body language and what they're telling us. Because
Mm.
we're far too because I'm an equine masseur and I'm an equine thermographic imager. So I do
Mhm.
services. I've realized over the years of 22 years in practice that most of us are way too rough with our horses. We don't
Mm,
realize that because they're big
mm,
animals, they're probably even more sensitive than we are, you know.
mm.
And if
I
we,
think they're the noblest, most intelligent, uh, giving creatures on this planet. Um,
I would
I
say they're
had
forgiving.
yes, yes, yes. Well, I had one pony who she didn't like men because she had scars over her eyes where she'd been beaten
Oh,
by a man. She was the most extraordinary show jumper, but totally bonkers, absolutely bonkers, because she couldn't help it. She just probably
yeah.
saw an open space and thought, "Oh, I want to be in that." So, 5 books. You're writing another one. Did you get quicker then at writing them?
Yeah, I went 2 years ago. I took on a course of
Yeah.
writing run by
Okay.
an American writer. And
Yeah.
what course that really changed things for me. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, it was quite a long course. I did it online, and we'd occasionally have a chat. And she really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
very, very valuable. I recommend that to any early writer.
Okay.
Even if you love writing and you're good at it and you have a good imagination,
Mm.
find out what's the right way.
Yes, and the editing.
Oh,
You may
that's right.
know of her, a good friend of mine from Cheltenham, Diana Jeffries. She writes
Okay.
beautiful novels, and she said the editing process can be brutal. Sometimes they sort of cut out a whole swathe of 40,000 words,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it is really tough.
Yeah.
So,
It's not an easy
no,
profession
no, and
at all.
quite isolating in some respects. I suppose you live inside your head quite a lot of the time.
You do, you do. I try not to make it isolating. I find early mornings most inspiring,
Mm, mm,
and at night I can write for hours.
mm,
But I find, and I'm sure most authors find, the marketing of the books really hard
mhm,
because
mhm,
nowadays publishers don't do that all for you. If you have an
mhm,
agent and a publisher, all good and well.
mm,
But if you just have a publisher, which is also great,
mm,
but you have to
mm.
do a considerable amount of your own marketing, and that's
Yes,
very difficult.
yes, it is hard. I'm going through a process with my 2 books now because these stories are timeless, 60 stories, because we've got World Book Day in March, International Women's Day in March, and
Yeah.
Mother's Day. And,
Mm,
these stories in these books would inspire and help anyone.
yeah.
Um, Also, what I love is the fact by people like you enabling us to read good fiction. When I go to bed, I read. That's my
Yes.
reading time.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, sometimes, maybe. Um, and so that gets me out of whatever is in my head, and I'm there. So I can't wait to start living some of your books. Do you have a favorite?
You know, I loved my
Mm.
debut because I was so close to her and still am, you know.
Yes, yeah,
Um, and it was an incredibly hard write because I've
mm,
never been to jail before. And
yeah,
to try and put across
mm,
that terrible time,
yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
really difficult, right? And that's probably why
Okay.
2.5 years. But I think the book I've enjoyed writing the most was book
Mm.
3 of the trilogy. I enjoyed all 3 of them,
Mm.
but I think
But
I had
you've
the
been with
most
those
fun.
characters for a long time, and
Yeah.
you brought the story to closure. So that must be very satisfying.
Oh, it was, and a it had so many plots and twists and
Mm.
turns in that, hence the name, the Tangled Reins of Fate. But it had a happy ending, you know.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Diana, this is absolutely wonderful. Now, where can our listeners find you online and your books?
Well, I'm on all the social media handles,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
Facebook. I've got a business page and an author page on Facebook. I have my own uh, personal page on Facebook,
Mhm.
Instagram,
And a
LinkedIn,
website.
and a website.
Okay.
And my
Oh,
books are available on Amazon, Kindle, bookstores. You can
brilliant.
order. Book isn't in a bookstore. You can order it.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, I haven't read any yet, and now I really want to. So thank you for telling us a bit about it.
Yeah.
And if you ever get that series, TV series, keep us posted, won't you?
Oh, well.
Because
Oh, I
yeah,
absolutely will. I'm
yeah,
hoping. I edited two books recently for a friend of mine, and he has a very dear friend in America who is a movie producer. Interestingly enough, just today I wrote to him and asked if he would be interested in looking at it. Uh, so
brilliant. Will you let me know?
yes, oh
Let
yes,
me know, because we can always update, the news
yes,
on the podcast. Do let
yes.
me know. Fingers crossed. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Dana, thank you so much for being with us
Oh, thank
on
you.
Strong, Grounded, Unstoppable. I think that actually describes you to a T. So thank you for being with us and telling us your story, which I hadn't realized. I knew you were a novelist, and we shared a love of horses. But that's just amazing. Thank you for sharing so openly.
Oh,
And, to our audience, if you liked today's story, which I'm sure you will have done, please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now. Thank you, Diana.
bye.
I'm so sorry. Bye bye.